Hey y'all, so I have to run an errand really soon, but I do want to address this really quick because it's on my mind and it's on my heart. I'm working with a young lady and she's trying to work through how to find the right person for her. So I want to talk to you today about how to find the right man. How to find the right man. It's important that you make a list of your non-negotiables. Your non-negotiables. Now, this young lady, we're working through a lot of things, but I'll tell you a few without exposing her name. I'll tell you a few of her non-negotiables that I can remember off the top of my head. She was looking for a certain height. Of course, I think she wanted him to be 6 feet or taller, right? That's on everybody's list. Tall, dark, and handsome, right? So that was one of them. The other one was he needs to be athletic. He needs to be of a certain complexion. She wanted someone who had locks, or twisties, something like that. Am I at 4 so far? I'm trying to remember. She wanted him to be kind. And then I think somewhere towards the bottom of that list, she wanted him to know the Lord. Okay? Those were her non-negotiables. And I think she also was looking, she didn't want someone because she's probably a medium build. She didn't want anyone that she's probably about 5'3", 5'4", medium build. She was looking for someone who wasn't too big. So I already said athletic, but she did also, but in my mind, athletic varies in body type. But so she didn't want someone who was overweight. Now, some of those non-negotiables, if those are on your list, that makes sense to a certain extent. To a certain extent, I like the end of the list. I like having a relationship with God, but we have to be careful in how we word those things, right? So I can tell you I have a relationship with God, and I could tell you that I read the 23rd Psalm, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil, for your rod and staff, go so on and so forth, right? I could tell you some of those things, but that's not truly enough if you're someone who's walking closely with the Lord, if you're someone who not just prays here and there, not just goes to church here and there, but you're actually studying your word, you're actually applying your word. There should be evidence, right? So it's more than just having a relationship with God. It's the evidence of a relationship with God. It's the evidence of being submitted to God and living a life submitted to God. So what does that look like, Brother Jules? I'm glad you asked me. It looks like someone who, before they make a decision, they say, oh, you know what? Let me pray about that and see, what the Lord says about it. Let me pray about it and see how I feel in my spirit after. Let me not make any rash decisions without consulting God. Now, for some, they may be like, oh, what are you talking about? But this is really someone who's submitted to God. They're going to take it. They're going to take everything to God in prayer. All right, and not just say it. They're going to actually go. They're going to actually pray. They're going to read their Bible, and they're going to see how they feel about whatever situation they're facing after they pray. So there has to be evidence of a prayer life, right? Relationship to God, prayer life, all right? And then as we expand that, there should be some fruits of the Spirit. I talked about this in a previous video, but for those who may have missed that, your man should be temperate, all right? Meaning that he shouldn't get too high, he shouldn't get too low, meaning he shouldn't get too angry, he shouldn't get too sad. For the most part, now we all have our ebbs and our flows, but if you put his temperament, if you put how he handles situations, if you put his emotional control on a scale or on a graph, and you did all the dots, and then you put a line through it, right? If I had some paper, I will show you what I mean. I don't have any paper nearby. Maybe I do. Hold on. We're going to try to see how this looks. I don't know how this is going to look on camera, so forgive me if this looks horrible. So we're going to try to do a little graph here just to show you. If I do it this way. All right. And if you plotted out his emotions, he was sad there. He got really angry there. He was okay here. Then we had some angry days. Then we had some days in between. And you begin to plot all of his emotions on a graph. And I'm just figuratively speaking about this, right? You don't have to physically do this, but this is just so to put a visual in your mind. If you could take his emotions and place it on a graph through all the dates you've been on, through all the situations, make sure you go through certain things with your man. Make sure you learn about his family. Make sure you learn about how he interacts with his family members, how his mother, his father, if he has both in his life. Make sure you get to truly know him and how he interacts with his co-workers and his boss and his business partners if he runs a business, his employees if he's a business owner. Get to know how he handles his risk situations. Get to know how he handles poor service in a restaurant. All right, does he cuss out the waiter or the waitress? Does he immediately need to talk to the manager every single time something isn't slightly right? Oh, I told you I wanted my pizza lightly toasted, and it was a little bit darker, and he flew off the handle. Think about all of the things you had the opportunity to witness and see him in his natural environment. All right, that's the best way I could describe it. Sounds like I'm talking about someone in the zoo, but in his day-to-day, observe how he acts. And if you could, in your mind, place it on a graph, and you put a line through the common points. For the most part, does he have more points being temperate, or he has more points up here? Does he have more points down here? And depending on how many instances you've seen where he's flown off the handle, you'll know whether he's temperate or not, right? And that's a fruit of the Spirit. That's having self-control. Truly having self-control. It's not that he never gets angry. It's that he may get angry and he brings himself down, he regulates himself. That's evidence of someone, in addition to saying, okay, I have a relationship, in addition to his prayer life, now we look deeper for the fruits. And the fruits should be there. And that's an easy fruit to pick out right away for someone who says that they're truly walking with the Lord. And we get a little bit deeper. Excuse me, my nose is running. We get a little bit deeper. A man who's truly submitted to God is not going to want to get into your pants. Not right away. Let me be clear, because I don't want y'all finding the wrong type of man. He's not going to want to jump into your pants right away because he understands that he's not out here trying to create any more soul ties than he's already created, or trying to create soul ties if he actually has saved himself for marriage. Which I haven't met many men who saved themselves for marriage, especially from where I come from. But if you happen to come across someone who's actually saving themselves, maybe he's not trying to develop any soul ties whatsoever. He understands that he can create soul ties. He understands that he doesn't want a baby out of wedlock. He understands that it's intended, that God has intended for man and woman to be together and for them to be married, right? A man who finds a wife finds a good thing, right? And I'm paraphrasing it. He also receives favor from the Lord. So he wants that favor, right? And he understands that he has to love you appropriately, and that those things will come. So, and again, and that goes back to self-control. Date 3, y'all hopping in the bed together. There may be a lack of self-control on both sides, something for you to think about. But there just has to be evidence of truly being submitted and living a lifestyle that is geared towards living Christ-like. No one is perfect, but you'll see some clear-cut evidence. And then anything that's like makes you go, I don't know about that. It might be something worth the conversation. It might be something worth taking a little closer look at to make sure that you're finding the right man for you. And I got to get ready to go. I maybe have 2 minutes. My wife is already calling me. I gotta hurry up. So, in addition to that, the young lady who I'm working with, she was trying to date. She found a man who is athletic, found a man who had the right hairstyle that she wanted. And I'll maybe do another video on body type. Listen, the body type really don't matter. You know, that's something that you can work on. If you truly get the right person who has the right spirit, the body type doesn't matter. That can be improved. You want to make sure the person has the right heart, the right kind of spirit, right? But she happened to find someone with the right type of hair that she was looking for, which hair is hair. I said in another video, the right man for you might be bald, but she happened to find he had locks, athletic build, athletic guy, but she was always reaching out to him. Anything she wanted to do, she had to contact him first. She was trying to convince him to take her out. That is not your man. If you have to tell him to take you out. A man, by nature, when he finds out that he likes you, he's going to want to take you out. Hey, can we go out for coffee? Hey, can we meet here? Hey, can I walk you home? Like going back to when you were a kid. Hey, can I walk you home? Right? The guy could be the shyest guy all day long in school, but he got a little crush on you, and he wants to walk you home, right? That's evidence from a young age of how a man typically, on average, will interact with a woman. So you shouldn't be doing all of the chasing, right? If it's constantly you contact, and he's constantly replying or responding to you reaching out to him, that's an issue because he sees you more as a fan and not as a potential wife or even a potential person he really would want to date. Probably just sees you as a plaything that he wants, that he can play with here and there when he's bored. You know, if you're constantly having to reach out to him, and then he'll take you out once you reach out and say something to him, and then there's no contact again until the next time you reach out. You know, that's not where you really want to be. So a couple things for you to think about. Let me know in the comments if you agree or if you've ever been in this situation, and also what areas are you working on to attract the right man for you. Take care.